and welcome to KGW News at 5 o'clock. We are rounding into the home stretch before Election Day. Ballots will start to be mailed out next week in both Oregon and Washington. Portland voters have an important choice in the race for the next mayor. Tonight, KGW and the Oregonian are hosting a debate to help you make that decision. Like pretty much everything this year, our debate looked different than normal. Candidates Ted Wheeler and Sarah Iannarone joined us remotely, and we taped it ahead of time to ensure everything went smoothly. We covered a lot of ground, and you can watch the full debate tonight at 7 o'clock right here on KGW. Many of you wrote asking us to press the candidates about the violent protests. So we posed a question from a KGW viewer asking what would they do to stop the frequent violence and return to peaceful protest.
The answer to addressing the issue that's happening in our streets is to standing alongside these young Black Lives Matter leaders, meeting with them, talking with them, working with them on these issues, and making progress toward real reform. I condemn violence in all forms, I always have, but we must know that the answer to protests about police brutality cannot be increased police brutality.
There are people who've been engaged in nightly violence and criminal destruction, and leaders should say unequivocally that violence will not be condoned. And for those who are engaged in active violence or criminal destruction, regardless of their political beliefs, they should be held accountable for that violence and criminal destruction, period.
The Portland mayoral debate is tonight. You can hear from Mayor Ted Wheeler and Sarah Iannarone at 7 p.m. Again, KGW is co-hosting this debate with the Oregonian. We've been partnering on debates with them for nearly 20 years. You can watch it here on KGW or on our website and YouTube page. You'll also find it on OregonLive.com. That's tonight at 7 o'clock. The deadline to register to vote is coming up quick. In Oregon, it's October 13th. In Washington, voters have a little more time than that. The deadline there to register is October 26th. Both states make it really easy. You can do everything online. You can also check your registration status online or update your mailing address if you've moved recently. And to learn more about the candidates and measures you'll be voting on, we have a voter's guide on our website, kgw.com. An 8-year-old Gresham boy is facing a weeks-long recovery after being badly hurt in a hit-and-run crash. KGW's Mike Benner spoke to the little boy's mother and great aunt, who are pleading with the driver to come forward.
I just wish that everybody would just pay attention.
A mother is pleading with drivers to slow down and pay attention after her son was badly hurt in a hit-and-run crash.
He could have been dead right now. I'm just hurt.
Authorities tell us around 5:15 Monday evening near Northeast 178th in Oregon, 8-year-old Amani Burns was riding his bike when he was hit by a car. It did not take long for the news to reach Amani's great aunt, who raced to the scene.
And it's like, oh my God. And he was just laying there bleeding and his leg was twisted.
Cassandra Carter says Amani suffered multiple breaks in his leg and was rushed to Randall Children's Hospital.
He's doing okay, but he's in a lot of pain and he do have a concussion too.
I ain't stopped crying. You see my eyes puffy. I ain't stopped crying yet.
Tanisha Bradley's pain turned to anger when she found out the driver who hit her little boy did not even stop to see if he was okay.
Why wouldn't they stop, A kid, an 8-year-old, it doesn't matter whoever. He's 8 years old. Why wouldn't you stop?
That question will haunt Tanisha for some time. Same for Amani's great aunt, who has this message for the driver who hit him.
Please, turn yourself in. He's just a baby.
As Amani continues his recovery here at the hospital, detectives are working hard to track down the hit-and-run driver. We can tell you the suspect vehicle is described as a gold or champagne-colored van with a black roof rack. Anyone with information about this case should contact the Gresham Police Department. Reporting in North Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
The Oregon Health Authority has just released new coronavirus cases, and we set a new record today. There are 484 new confirmed cases, and Multnomah County led the way with 82 of them. And you can see the dotted line on this graph going up in the last few weeks, really wiping out all the progress made over the summer. The recent increase in cases can be traced to outbreaks in long-term care facilities, workplaces, and social gatherings. Oregon also reported 11 new deaths today. Lane County is also seeing a surge in cases. 207 students at the University of Oregon have tested positive for the coronavirus. That's since mid-September. And Lane County, home to the University of Oregon, is experiencing a significant uptick in COVID-19 cases. One county health worker said the last 3 weeks were, quote, miserable. Some, but not all of the new cases involve U of O students. Most classes are taking place online, but a number of students are living in dorms and off campus. This graph, the green, shows the number of off-campus students who are getting infected. And this graph shows the age category with the biggest number is 21 to 30 years old. Still, the public health director said students are not the biggest reason for the spread in Lane County.
I think that that's clearly not the number one. We continue to have the largest number of cases and outbreaks that are related to homes, and that's basically people letting down their guard and spreading this virus. And then the second one is, select workplaces, again, not the university.
But he said students could be reason number 3. The virus continues to spread. By the way, we checked, and Oregon State reports 59 students infected since mid-September, and Portland State had 0. Oregon and Washington are working on new ways to let you know if you've been exposed to COVID-19. Soon, you'll be able to get notified on your phone. Galen Etlin shows us how it works.
This is really part of a multifaceted approach.
Dr. Timothy Menzel with the Oregon Health Authority says local contact tracing efforts are getting a boost.
Exposure notifications are alerts that people can receive on their phones to let them know if they've been in contact with someone diagnosed with COVID-19.
For months, his Oregon team has been working with Google and Apple to develop an app. Here's how it works. Say you sit together with someone on a park bench. If you have both opted in, your phones send out codes over Bluetooth signal.
So they're just exchanging signals back and forth. And these signals, they're random combinations of letters and numbers.
Those codes don't have any personal information. But later, if one of you tests positive for COVID, you can submit a notification into the app. That gets sent to everyone with matching Bluetooth codes, simply saying they may have been exposed that day, but not by whom or where.
It's not GPS technology. We just know that we were in relative contact with one another within 6 feet for about 15 minutes.
Privacy is key. OHA says it doesn't get any identifying information, just the numbers of notifications. The goal is for people exposed to isolate, get tested, share info with public health, and prevent more infections.
It's an anonymous way to notify your contacts. It's a way also to notify folks that you don't know who they are.
Google and Apple have helped more than a dozen states with exposure notification systems so far. Washington and Oregon are in the works. How far is Oregon away from this technology becoming a reality?
So we still have 2 months to do a little bit of work to make sure it's right, it's working the way we want it to work.
OHA plans to test the app on a local college campus. Then Apple and Google will send out phone updates in December or January, asking people to opt in. What would your message be to people who are maybe skeptical or on the fence about it as it rolls out in the next few months?
This is just another tool in our toolbox. Really, none of the data about the person will be collected by any agency. Here's another way you can protect yourself and your loved ones from COVID.
I'm Galen Etlin for KGW News.